So, I get the pleasure of interviewing two companies on their journeys through all of this world, inbound marketing, HubSpot, or as Mark keeps reminding me, I've got the easy job. So, first I'd like to welcome Dave to the stage. Dave from B&B Press. Please come down. Good test if that's working.
Is it working?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, good. So, Dave, B&B Press, a printing company for more than 60 years, focus in sustainability, which I'm sure we'll get into. But more importantly, we've known each other for quite a long time now, and this has been a long journey. Before I go into that, I've been leaving my cards around the room, somewhat accidentally throughout the day, and someone wrote on my card for you, Dave, a question. So see if you can figure out who this is from. Can you remember Luke running rings around you at football when you were kids? Don't know who wrote that.
Probably Luke.
It was probably Luke.
Probably Luke, yeah.
And you remember that well?
Long time ago. He's not as good as what he said he was. Really.
No.
It's all lies, but no. Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Got a charity football game coming up soon, so maybe we can...
Is he playing as a ringer or...?
Well, we'll find out if he's up for it, Dave. You are, so let's see.
Very good.
Brilliant. So, take me back all that time before all of this world, before HubSpot, before inbound. How did you get into all this?
I suppose the thing really, in terms of the business, it wasn't broken. We didn't go with HubSpot or any kind of anything else like that. It wasn't kind of broken. It was a case of I joined as a consultant. I've been in print for a fair while, and I guess where I was in my life at that moment in time, I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to be employed by a business, and yeah, I just thought I'd give it a go as a bit of a consultant. The major issue that we got, I guess, at B&B is that print's not sexy, I guess. It's difficult, it's hard, and you know, we got a lot of customers that were spending too little. So we were a traditional company, the sales guys had their own patch, they were running things pretty independently, and it was a case of, right, we're going to go in, we're going to tear everything up, we're going to start again. Which obviously had its challenges. In terms of the marketing from a website perspective, looked alright. We were getting at the time something pathetic like 200 visits a month, which is crazy. Looked okay, no substance behind it, and when we started to go through the exercise, as most marketing companies do and people do, like the tone of voice, does the website show and give the impression? So like, is everybody bought into it? So as you know, our culture now is all about be brilliant. So every time you pick up the phone, or we pick up the phone, every time we answer an email, every time we do a video, whatever, I would like to think that that's in there. At that time it wasn't, you know. It was just a case of, we're just a great company. But the challenge was though, is that we were a great company making money. So when you're trying to get people to suddenly change things after 50 years, that becomes really difficult because you get there, well, why do we need to change? So the biggest thing was too many customers spending not too little, too difficult to manage, and they probably weren't the right kind of customers as well. So we were the guys were kind of doing things that you typically expect. So like fact packet notes, you know, spreadsheets, email alerts, diaries, notebooks, that kind of thing. So that's how you know, the guys used to keep on top of things, and which is obviously, you know, bound to fail at some point. So yeah, really traditional really.
No, I think it's a great picture. Look, you touched on a lot of things, sales teams, brand, marketing, website. There's a lot to do coming in as a consultant looking at business. Where did you start? What was the first thing you thought, I've got to get this bit right?
Yeah, so one of the big challenges that we had was within our print world we use an MIS, and that's an organisation called Faster, and it's a real print specific. I think they're in Clitheroe actually.
Yeah.
Just up the road. And one of the things that was a bit of a pain was that we were doing quotes a lot of the time. The quotes were never followed up effectively. It was a real mess, and we were kind of looking around for a CRM system which we could maybe integrate Faster in with a CRM system. And we were only looking for a CRM system, nothing else at that time. So we did a bit of research. Faster kind of said that they were looking at potentially wanting to beta test with HubSpot. We put our hands up, and we beta tested the connection between HubSpot and Farston. So quite quickly we got deals appearing on dashboards automatically. So quotes got done in Farston, quote went to customer, deal appeared on dashboard. And that meant from that point forward, nothing got forgotten from a quote perspective. So that was the first thing that we kind of looked at really.
No, that makes sense. Get your CRM and now to get your data up and build on it.
Yeah, I think the thing is that like the inbound thing, we're going back, 7 years now, something like that? Nobody really knew what it was, I certainly didn't. So obviously the first point of call was coming across to the user group, met you, and obviously, we took it from there. I think, I say mistake, you kind of learn from things. We tried to onboard before we knew you, and we were trying to onboard directly with HubSpot. I'm not going to say it was painful, but it was. Joking apart, we didn't realise, I don't think, at the time, the amount of skill that you needed to make this work. Content writers, web developers, so many experts that you needed to make it a success. And the hour or so every week or every couple of weeks, we just didn't have the skills, it wasn't right. So, fortunately we found you guys, and that's how all this started. So.
That's why we're sat here. So, challenges, obviously not an easy process. Someone touched on the challenge today around putting a new platform into a business, a new methodology into a business. How did you get sales team to adopt it? And was that the real biggest challenge you had?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk today about people, and people make the business, and they absolutely do. For me, at that moment in time, people were probably my biggest challenge, because they've been doing it a certain way. The minute you mention CRM system, they think, right, Big Brother's watching me, I can't do anything, I've got to allocate time to certain things. And it took a little bit of time to kind of make them see, by working with them, what's a consultation that actually would help. A good example of that is Kev, who he retired. He'd been with the business for like 35 years as a sales guy with us. And obviously when he left at actually 67. So he was like 64 when he was starting to use the CRM system. It's like piles of paperwork on his desk. It's like, what on earth? But the good thing is that after a few months, he was actually coming to us and saying, I can't believe how I worked without it. He didn't forget things anymore. Things weren't forgetting to be followed up. So, people at the beginning. But I must admit, and I pick up to what the lady said before me, we're really good at getting buy-in. Me as an individual, I kind of, and I had this conversation with somebody earlier, don't kind of just bark out and get people to do things. You know me, I live and breathe it. HubSpot is king in our business. And we have a lot of consultation, we have a lot of meetings, we do have the regular weekly marketing meetings, and in fact, our marketeers, they actually set our sales guys challenges every week. So every week, Anna, our marketing girl, she'll go, right guys, this week I want you to put 5 social posts out on this topic, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, and then every week they talk about it. So it's been really pleasing. From the front, it was me driving it, but now the other guys have got on board, and we've got a really good team.
For sure, it's rare you see businesses across the board get this sort of buy-in and throw themselves in.
Yeah.
But certainly been impressed with how your team's done that. Obviously, it's been a huge project for you. It's been a long time, a lot of hours and blood, sweat and tears and all that stuff over the last 6 or 7 years. What's been the impact? Was it worth it?
Yeah, it has been really difficult. Obviously the web hits, like I said, we were getting 200 a month. We're now 21,000 a month, so that's epic. The business, when I joined in 2016, was, it'd been quite stagnant on £3.6 million in terms of turnover. And I'm not a massive, I'm more about profit as opposed to turnover.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying, but as a marker, we were at 3.6. We adopted HubSpot, the inbound methodology, the helpfulness as I call it. We went from 3.6 to 4.2, 4.2 to 4.6, 4.6 to 5, COVID hit. And then, unfortunately, the minute COVID hit, the majority of the work that we do, obviously we do sustainable print. People are not having meetings, people are not trying to sell products, salespeople are at home. people are doing online meetings, there's no print given out, there's no print being sent to people's houses, businesses, because people are at home. So you have to pivot, for want of a better word, and you do things differently. But you know, we tried different things as part of COVID. The website hits went up. You know, we also were very fortunate in terms of like the you know, the Impact Awards and all that kind of stuff. So I think in, was it 2019?
Yeah.
Just before COVID, we won the Q4 Impact Award, and then we won the whole year Impact Award. So that made it really worth it. But now, going back to the monetary, 5 years in, we've just about to close out this month, and we'll do 6.2 million. Now, the business has never done 5, really. So the company has grown double, virtually, in the 5 years. Now, I'm a massive HubSpot fan, but I do see it as a toolbox. You know, we've done a lot of other things like Vidyard. We have a video-first approach. The guys don't outreach now unless it's you know, video-first, Vidyard email or social message. So I see it as a toolkit, and whether it's a sales guy, the outreach, whether it's marketing working together, whether it's a social post, whether it's a DM, whether it's an email, whatever, it works. Yeah. In a football team, it doesn't matter who scores the goal as long as the goal's getting scored, right? So yeah, it's absolutely been worth it.
For sure, and I've seen the hard work you guys have put in over these years to touch on what Josh was saying, keep up with your customers, move where your customers are, find new markets in a very traditional industry.
Yeah.
And when you look at the leads you guys get now, like, I'm really proud of what you guys get in. And it's not the numbers, it's the quality, it's the right people that actually close into good valuable accounts for you guys, and that's the reward we get from working with you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we developed a new website probably about 18 months ago now, because one of the major issues that we were getting was that the leads weren't that great. We were getting a lot of, can you print on a mobile phone? Can you do our wedding invites? Can you like do a banner for our village fete or whatever? And we had to spend a lot of time getting that right, getting the message right. The leads that we get through now are outstanding. Like, you know, we get some real solid leads, maybe not as many, but the leads that we are getting are real quality, which is great.
And if you have to put your success down to one thing, what would it be?
I'm not so sure it's kind of one thing, if I'm honest. I did make some notes earlier on actually, but I think it is the whole thing, like the combined approach, using the HubSpot stuff, you know, your help and guidance and support. Like I said, we couldn't have done it without you. Yeah, there are other agencies out there, as we all know, but I think the way that you guys work with companies, get to really understand the business. You know, your guys, when we start off with a new person, don't know anything about print. Like, it must be really difficult for you guys to get an understanding of how we work and what makes us tick. But I think you're very good at that, and you know, at the end of it, people do understand what it is that we do. But I think it's that combination of everything, that toolkit, the toolkit kind of approach, and obviously, you know, you guys are a big part of that. It's really hard this, because like I'm not going to say any different, am I? I'm not going to say that like you're not good, but genuinely you are. Like we we have a lot of chats out of hours. You know, we have become quite close, not that close.
It's not where I was heading with this today.
Yeah. I'm still trying to get into ditch Sunderland, but that's for another time. But no, these guys are great. So.
I think when I look at your company, I think what I put your success down to is actually looking at inbound as not just it's a marketing tool, but it's actually the way you run your business, and you do the right things for clients at the right times. Even when you know there's no money in it, you will help them. So throughout COVID, you guys were running webinars to just get people up in the morning when you were furloughed in the marketing world. People like Luke and stuff joining them to give them a bit of motivation, trying to keep them up to date with their skills. There's no way any of those were going to pick up the phone to you an hour later and order some print, but it's having that inbound methodology of knowing your persona, helping them with the problems they have, and if you do that for long enough, it pays off.
I mean, it's a good point. I mean, like, I think over COVID we probably made a few mistakes, like a lot of companies did. You know, I'm not embarrassed to say it. You know, we didn't lose £1.5 million, but in terms of sales, they dropped by £1.5 million. we were quite fortunate that a lot of our customers there were in home improvements. So while people weren't going on holiday, they were doing the decking or putting in a new shed or home improvements. So that worked quite well. I think the big mistake that we did make was obviously, we stopped not the full retainer, but we cut down on the retainer with you guys. And then we expected it to restart back up again, but things take time, don't they? And I think anybody out there that's not using HubSpot or has not been on this journey, you've got to allow yourself some time. It's not going to happen overnight. It probably takes 6, 9 months, 12 months in order for it to really kick in. So by stopping it for nearly a year, you can't expect us for it to carry on. But I think we made the right decision at the right time. We were losing money, we were losing people, people were going on furlough. We did what we thought was right. But you are right, we did do a lot of the webinars, we kicked off with the B&B Club again, and just delivered valuable content and just a space where people can come and just chill out for a bit. And I think that quite worked, and people remember those things.
No, for sure. That's definitely a credit to you and the business. So no, that's it, Dave. Really appreciate you getting up. Everyone wants to give Dave a huge round of applause.